Maura Murray was a 21-year-old nursing student at the University of Massachusetts Amherst. By all outward appearances, she was smart, athletic, and driven. She ran track in high school, was accepted to West Point before transferring to UMass, and came from a large and loving family. But beneath the surface, there were signs of inner turmoil. In the days leading up to her disappearance, Maura exhibited behavior that suggested she was grappling with personal issues. She received a phone call on February 5, 2004, that reportedly upset her while she was on duty at her campus job. Her supervisor later said Maura was visibly shaken, unresponsive, and dazed. When asked what was wrong, she simply responded, "My sister." The details of that phone call remain unclear to this day. Then, on February 9, 2004, Maura emailed her professors, informing them of a family emergency that would require her to leave campus for a week. No such family emergency existed. That same day, she packed her belongings into her black 1996 Saturn and withdrew nearly all the money from her bank account, totaling about $280. She then drove toward New Hampshire, a region her family had vacationed in when she was younger. She purchased alcohol from a nearby store, including Bailey's, vodka, and a box of Franzia wine. A printed email about a rental property in Bartlett, New Hampshire, was later found in her car, suggesting she may have been heading there. Maura's last confirmed sighting came at approximately 7:27 p.m. on February 9, 2004, when a resident in Haverhill, New Hampshire, reported a car accident on Route 112 near the Woodsville area. Maura had apparently driven her Saturn off the road into a snowbank. A local bus driver returning from his route stopped to offer assistance. He spoke briefly with Maura and later told police she insisted she had called AAA, though there was no cell reception in the area at the time, so no record of any such call. About 10 minutes later, at 7:46 p.m., police arrived at the scene, but Maura was gone. Her car was locked. The windshield was cracked, the airbags deployed, and a box of wine had spilled across the interior. Her personal belongings, including school books, some clothes, and printed directions to Vermont, were found inside the vehicle. Her debit and credit cards, however, were missing and have never been used since. Her cell phone was never recovered. The area was quiet and rural. Snow blanketed the ground, and night had fallen. Dogs were brought in to track her scent, which was picked up for about 100 yards east of the crash site, before disappearing completely. There were no footprints, no blood, no signs of a struggle, just silence. The mystery of what happened to Maura in that short window of time has haunted investigators and her family ever since. From the very beginning, investigators and the public alike have been perplexed by the circumstances of Maura Murray's disappearance. The evidence left behind offered no clear direction, and the theories that emerged over time reflected the complexity of the case. The car crash is perhaps the most crucial piece of evidence, but also the most confounding. The damage to the car was relatively minor, severe enough to disable the vehicle, but not enough to indicate a serious injury. Her belongings were undisturbed, and the wine spilled in the car raised questions about whether alcohol played a role. However, no one saw her leave the scene. No one saw another vehicle. The road was mostly empty that night. The bus driver was the last known person to speak with her. One prevailing theory is that Maura became disoriented after the crash, wandered into the woods, and succumbed to the elements. February temperatures in northern New Hampshire were frigid, and with limited visibility and no flashlight, this is not implausible. But this theory fails to account for the absence of a body, clothing, or even footprints in the snow. Another theory suggests foul play. Could Maura have accepted a ride from a passerby? If so, why would she leave her belongings behind? And if she was harmed by someone, how did they manage to do so without leaving behind any evidence? The short 10-minute window between when the bus driver saw her and when the police arrived seems almost too narrow for such a crime, unless someone had been watching, waiting, or following her. Some speculate that Maura planned her disappearance. The email to her professors, the withdrawal of cash, and the printed directions hint at the possibility of a premeditated escape. Was she trying to run from something? A troubled relationship, academic pressure, legal trouble. Just days before her disappearance, Maura had been involved in a minor car accident on campus. Additionally, She had used stolen credit card numbers months earlier, although the charge had been dismissed as part of a diversion program. Yet, if Maura did intend to disappear, why choose such a remote and hazardous location? And why hasn't she contacted her family in over 2 decades? Public speculation has only grown over time, fueled by internet forums, armchair detectives, and true crime communities. The case became one of the first to receive widespread attention online, and Maura's name remains synonymous with internet sleuth culture. But this attention hasn't always been helpful. Her family has expressed frustration over baseless rumors, wild accusations, and online harassment. Theories have ranged from the plausible to the outlandish, ranging from abduction by a local predator to secret double lives. The pain of Maura's disappearance has left deep scars on her family. Her father, Fred Murray, has been her most vocal and tireless advocate. In the early days of the investigation, he canvassed the area on foot, searching ditches, woods, and abandoned buildings. He put up flyers, pleaded with the public for information, and fought law enforcement agencies for access to records. Fred believed from the beginning that Maura was a victim of foul play. He maintained that someone took his daughter and that she did not leave voluntarily. Over the years, Fred became increasingly frustrated with what he viewed as a lackluster and opaque investigation. He repeatedly accused the New Hampshire State Police of withholding information and mishandling the case. Maura's siblings, including her sister Julie and brother Kurt, also participated in the search, interviews, and public campaigns. They described the emotional toll of years without answers, living in a state of unresolved grief. Every lead, every rumor, every reported sighting brought hope, followed by heartbreak. Her mother, Lori, passed away in 2009 without ever knowing what happened to her daughter. For Maura's family, time has not dulled the pain. Each year, they mark February 9th with renewed efforts to find answers. Their search has become not just a pursuit of justice, but a mission to preserve Maura's memory. She was more than a headline, more than a case file. She was a daughter, a sister, a student, and a young woman with her whole life ahead of her. Over the years, the investigation into Maura's disappearance has waxed and waned. The New Hampshire State Police remain the lead agency on the case, but they have released very little information to the public. Despite repeated requests, her family has been denied access to crucial case files. In 2019, a basement in a nearby home was searched following a tip from cadaver dogs. Ground-penetrating radar suggested a possible disturbance in the soil, but after excavation, nothing was found. That same year, the FBI created a VICAP profile for Maura, indicating that they were treating the case as a possible abduction. In 2021, law enforcement conducted a renewed search of the area near the crash site. Digging through soil and using advanced forensics tools, though the details remained scarce, officials confirmed that no new evidence was uncovered. Private investigators, hired by the family and supporters, have continued to explore leads. Podcast series and documentaries have reignited public interest. Some have uncovered new interviews and inconsistencies in early witness statements, though none have produced the breakthrough needed to solve the case. The lack of forensic evidence, surveillance footage, or eyewitness accounts has kept the case shrouded in mystery. But investigators have said publicly that the case is active. They continue to receive tips, and every year they emphasize that they believe someone knows what happened to Maura. Maura Murray's disappearance has left an enduring impact on the true crime community, the town of Haverhill, and the broader national consciousness. Her case is often cited in discussions about missing persons, particularly adult women whose disappearances fall into a gray area between foul play and voluntary absence. The media attention her case received helped bring attention to other missing persons. It has also exposed the gaps in how law enforcement handles disappearances, particularly in the early stages. Maura's story has inspired books, documentaries, podcasts, and online forums. Yet despite all the attention, no one has been able to answer the most basic question: where is Maura? Her case continues to resonate because it touches on a fear we all share, the fear of vanishing without a trace. In that snowy corner of New Hampshire, something happened on the night of February 9, 2004, and 2 decades later, we are no closer to understanding what that something was. In 2025, a significant development brought new hope to those still searching for Maura. In January, The New Hampshire Cold Case Unit confirmed that a private landowner had come forward with information about a previously unsearched property less than a mile from the crash site. The land, dense with brush and long inaccessible due to seasonal flooding, had never been explored during initial search efforts. Utilizing drones equipped with LiDAR imaging and infrared sensors, investigators identified a depression in the ground that appeared unnatural. In March, a specialized forensic team conducted an excavation of the area. During the dig, several personal items were recovered, including a fragment of a university ID card, clothing fibers consistent with the ones Maura was last seen wearing, and a scrap of cloth bearing an indistinct blood stain. The materials were sent to the FBI lab in Quantico for analysis. In June 2025, results confirmed that the fibers and the ID fragment did belong to Maura Murray. However, no human remains were found, and the blood on the cloth yielded a partial DNA profile that did not match Maura, but also did not match anyone in national databases. The discovery has confirmed that Maura was at this location after the crash, contradicting previous assumptions that she had either vanished into the woods or accepted a ride from a passing driver. This revelation has led to a full re-examination of witness statements and a renewed call for anyone with information to come forward. The Cold Case Unit has stated that they are now investigating this site as a possible secondary location in a crime. They have also confirmed that new interviews are being conducted with individuals who lived in the area at the time and who may not have been fully vetted in the original investigation. While this discovery has not yet solved the case, it has provided something the family has long sought: confirmation that Maura did not vanish into thin air. She made it beyond the crash site. She left behind clues. And someone, somewhere, knows why she never came home. Thank you for watching Fatal Secrets of True Crime. Subscribe for more stories like this. Real crimes, hidden truths, and the secrets they tried to bury. Your support helps keep these stories alive and the pressure on for answers. Until next time, remember, every secret eventually comes to light.